What's up, guys? I think I see a few of you in the chat. How's your Wednesday going? Hi, Surf Cowboy 2. Hi, Agnos. We can just wait a bit to see if people show up. I'm not really sure if it's gonna be a big crowd tonight because I just made a post about this today, but hopefully we'll get a crowd. Because I have to figure out how to keep you guys entertained, if not. Can you guys hear me okay, too? I'm not sure if the levels are good. Let me know if the music's too loud or if I'm too quiet. Hi, Derek. Have you guys listened to the record? Sweet. There's always gonna be I can tell there's like a 20-second delay or something, so okay, cool. Sweet. I had some really bad technical issues last time. I'm running on like this computer I've had for years that I also use for my shows, and it's been crapping out on me like crazy. And I actually bought a new computer. I bought a fancy M1 computer, and then I realized it's not compatible with anything, so I can't even use it. Which is a pretty dumb mistake on my end. Thank you. I'm trying to keep the music quiet just so you can hear me, but if you want it turned up, let me know. M1, yeah. Good in theory, not in practice. First question. Sweet. Hey, Matt. How come Are You Ready didn't make it on the album? Now that I'm thinking back on it, I kind of do wish I put it on the album. I think the album could have used a little bit more of like an uplifting track to negate some of the darkness within the middle of the record, maybe. But also, I guess the main reason I decided not to was just like me getting in my head about the production, and I thought, or more so the mix, I thought the mix wasn't where I wanted it to be. So I kind of just wanted to release it under the radar. And then after I did that, it seemed like people really liked that song. And I could kind of see it more for what it was without thinking about it so much as like a mixing engineer or a producer. I could just like see how it resonated with people just on a songwriting level. So yeah, it probably should have been on the record, but it is what it is now. And I was told I should put it on the record. So yeah, I should listen to other people at times. I think I get a little too headstrong about that stuff. But I'm glad you like Are You Ready? Hi, Agus. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. How's it going? What software do I use? I use Ableton. Everything's in Ableton. There's been a few times where I've bounced some stuff out to Logic because my other computer has some plugins, like some plugins that like clean up the noise and stuff. So I'll bounce it out to that just for that reason. But other than that, it's all in Ableton. I've been producing. It's hard to answer because I was basically playing guitar in bands for a long time, and I would record. Like I think I started probably in GarageBand or something in college, so that was like over 10 years ago. And then I started playing in Logic and just kind of like figuring out the workflow in Logic. And I made a couple songs in Logic, and then I put out one track like probably roughly 10 years ago. And then I just like was on the road playing guitar for a long time. And I think like between then and 3 or 4 years ago, I was mostly just like messing around. I wasn't really doing it seriously. So I think I was just like picking up on things here and there. And then I decided about 3 or 4 years ago to actually write some songs. And that's when it basically started. So I would say I took it seriously. I started taking it seriously about 3 or 4 years ago. But I started playing around in DAWs like probably close to a decade ago. I don't make music under any other names. But I played in other bands in the past. I played in this band called Heavenly Beat, which was like a former Captured Tracks jangly band. Kind of jangly. Maybe not. That's probably a terrible way of describing it. But yeah. Kind of that Captured Tracks vibe, if you catch my drift. Do I know when 100% will ship the vinyl? I think it shipped... was supposed to ship Tuesday. I don't know if that is actually the case, but that's what I was told. For live stuff, do I just leave out a layer? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like certain synth VSTs. I'll play live. So yeah, I'll leave that out. Thank you, Dan. Do I like to play around and make different genres of music? Yeah, I think my whole music career has been dabbling in different genres. So like this is the first time I've really just decided to stick with kind of one sound, even though I feel like my project is a little bit each song kind of varies from the next. But I started playing guitar in punk bands and stuff at the very beginning, and I was just like thrashing around and screaming and stuff. I was in my angsty phase, and then moved more to shoegaze. That's more my roots. So I did a lot of shoegaze stuff, and I'm always trying to sort of incorporate my shoegaze roots into my now electronic stuff. And yeah, just within what I'm doing within electronic music, I'm like, oh, I want, like, for one song, I'll want to incorporate some, like, jungle, DMB, another track, like, I'll want to move towards, like, an IDM sound. So I like challenging myself just because I feel like I don't want to get too comfortable as a producer. Like, I feel like there's just always so much to learn, so I should really be constantly teaching myself new tricks. And learning new genres always helps with that. FL Studio, never used it. I have no idea. I would say, well, not a lot, but there are often times where I'll try to look up a tutorial and it will be specifically for FL Studio. So I'll just kind of like translate that into Ableton. But yeah, I've never actually touched it or used it or anything. Any plans to do a West Coast tour? I'd love to. We'll see. I'll definitely be out in LA at some point. I want to say within the year because I'm out there a lot. So at least LA, like a one-off or something. But I'd love to actually tour for sure. At the Masquerade. Oh, that place. That place was cool. It was the Purgatory, I think, right? I like that spot. It was very DIY. Favorite guitar player? That's a good question. I'm gonna have to think about that one. I was really into like Sonic Youth when I was playing guitar. That was a big inspiration for me because I liked how they were always into like just random tunings and using the guitar in like percussive ways and not just confining themselves to like a very rigid way of performing guitar. So that was big for me. And that gave me a lot of liberty with guitar because I get bored really easily. I'm not good with like practicing scales and stuff. I've never been good with that. So I really like just having the freedom to just create in whatever way I want to. And Sonic Youth was always like a big inspiration in that way. So yeah, I'm sure there's a ton others. What shoegaze band do I love? Oh, I mean, My Bloody Valentine, of course. They were my favorite. I don't know if Brian Jonestown Massacre necessarily is shoegaze, but I feel like they have one foot in, one foot out. And they're another favorite of mine. And I actually saw them on Monday. So that was cool. Am I coming to Boston again? Yeah, I want to. Sometime. We'll see, maybe within the year, because it's not too far from me. It'd be like a cool day trip. What or who influenced my jungle style? I don't really know, to be honest. I think, because I don't think I ever really got immersed in like OG jungle. As much as I want to say that I have, I really haven't. I think it's just so much of these modern producers are incorporating like jungle beats into everything they're doing. So I think it's actually been more me influenced by a lot of modern producers who are very much inspired by like OG jungle stuff. Plans to come to Canada? I'd love to if it's easy crossing the border. I don't know what the restrictions are like right now. But yeah, I've been to Canada a few times and I've always had a good time, but I've never really been there longer than a day. So like on one tour, I hopped across the border, played a show in Montreal, got some poutine, and then dipped. And then I had another show in Toronto, and that was really short-lived. And then another show in Vancouver, which was like seriously such a blip in my memory. So I'd love to go to Canada and like actually spend some decent time there. And I know there's just great electronic music that comes out of, I would say Montreal specifically, but yeah, just Canada in general. Yeah, Purgatory. That place is cool. Do I like Seafield or Bowery Electric? The funny thing is, I haven't really gotten into either of them, but I know about Bowery Electric because I used to work at this venue called Bowery Electric. And then people would like send me links to Bowery Electric. They're like, yo, check out this band, just because I like worked at a venue that had the same name. Yeah, I should really check it out. I've gotten a lot of people telling me to listen to it. So favorite Sonic Youth album? That's hard. I'm also really bad with album names. Rather Ripped is the name, right? I really like it, and that was like a newer record when I started listening to it. But I remember getting really into that album. I honestly don't remember like what tracks are on it, but I remember listening to that on repeat. How do I say Vitesse? Vitesse. Vitesse means speed in French. And I think that's how French people say it. Chicago, New Year. We'll see. That was really fun. That was super fun. It was a weird time though. It was definitely like a little nerve-wracking. I mean, you're saying you got COVID. Yeah, it was like COVID was kind of like at its height again. So I'd like to go back and like really fully enjoy myself without like, the fear of that constantly lurking. Favorite Aphex Twin song? So many of his songs are like not even pronounceable. I mean, it's hard to choose a song. Selected Ambient Works is like my favorite album of all time. And I just love how it like flows together. And I honestly can't I just listened to that album so much, but I never like even looked down to like check out what the song names are. So I don't know specifically like what songs resonated with me the most. It was just like the full album was always what I was consuming. Yeah, so I'm not sure what specific song it would be. Boards of Canada? Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, I think before I ever got into shoegaze or like any of that music or like the genre of music that's like very much all about immersive sound and heavy reverb, Boards of Canada was sort of like my first taste of that. And I think that's always in the back of my head when I'm writing songs, like entering that place that I felt when I listened to Boards of Canada for the first time. Will my second album be similar to the first? I don't know. I feel like in my head it won't be, but a lot of times as an artist, especially when you have vocals on top, you can change up a lot production-wise and still kind of sound cohesive as long as the vocals sound generally cohesive. I do think I'm going to do less vocals on the next record. And I do want to delve just more into like dance production and yeah, I don't know. I just want to write something that's like really fun to listen to and really like transcendental. So that's sort of my objective with it. But it could could take its own course, because a lot of times that happens. I'll like have a plan and then it becomes something entirely different. So we'll see. I navigate music via album covers too. And I always sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, because I'm not like constantly looking down at my phone, or like, I mean, I didn't collect CDs so much. So, you know, it's all been like so much on the digital front when I've consumed music. So I'm not really looking at the names a lot of the times. I'm just like, I have my AirPods in and I'm just going, and I'm like, oh, I love this and I'll like it, and that's about it. Yeah. Inspiration for Centrifuge Me. I don't know, on a production side of things. I know I wanted to make something dancey and heavy hitting, but I didn't really have like a specific artist in mind when I did it. I was just feeling really angsty when I wrote it. I wrote it around, I would say, February of last year, and I was like, you know, we're like kind of still in lockdown, and I hadn't seen people for months, and I was just going so fucking stir crazy. So this was like very much like a cathartic release type of song for me. But now I love playing it live, because I feel like it's definitely like the most intense song I have, and yeah, it's got a lot of energy, so I like it. It's fun. Do I play video games? Not anymore. And I wasn't really an avid gamer or anything growing up, but I dabbled. My brother had a bunch of games, so I'd play with him. He had like this ATV game. I don't think I play video games in the way that like you're supposed to. I get stressed out really easily when there's a competition, so I would like go on the four-wheeler, and instead of racing, I would just like drive around in the desert and just like look at the scenery. So I always like those kinds of games. Like Sims, I was a big Sims player when I was younger. That was a big one for me. And I did love Myst too. I don't think I really knew how to play Myst very well, but same thing. Like I just kind of like walking around and like taking in the beauty of the game without really playing it the way it was intended. How did I get connected with 100%? That is probably the longest story I could tell on the stream. But it goes way back, like about a decade, because I met George about a decade ago. I don't know how many people know about like our history, but we went to school together down in Virginia, and we were both part of the same DIY scene. So I met him at a house show I was actually at my boyfriend at the time's house in the basement, and I think I had just played a show with like one of my first bands, and yeah, I met him outside, and he was wearing these giant sunglasses in the middle of the night, and I was like, interesting. And then yeah, I would just see him here and there. We weren't really close in college or anything, but I would always see him around, and I would see him perform a lot. So yeah, back when he was in Mirror Kisses. So yeah, and then from there, it's just like we stay connected all these years. He moved up to New York a little bit after I moved to New York, and him and Lindsay were sleeping on my couch for a while. And yeah, we've all kind of grown together. So that's the short version of it. Thank you, Ryan. Shoegaze production tips. Well, to me, shoegaze is not as much of a production thing like on the computer. It's more like very instrumental based. So for me, I'm still trying to figure out how to replicate that immersive quality while working in my computer. I think it's a very hard feat because I mean, I'm not using a lot of analog gear or anything, so to get that like warmth and that depth is very difficult, and I think it's pushing me more out of the box now. Like, I want to start investing in some outboard gear so I can get that lush quality with synths and yeah, just all of it. So I'm not the person to ask about that, really. I'm still figuring it out myself. But you know, I'm a big fan of Valhalla, so I'll just slap that reverb on everything. Favorite breakfast drink? Ooh. Well, this has become not just a breakfast drink for me. It's become an all-day drink for me, but green tea. I don't drink coffee. I drink green tea. I quit coffee like 5 years ago, and I never looked back. I do like loose leaf now. And yeah, I just always have to have tea in my hand. It's like my comfort. So that's my favorite breakfast drink. Mist is cool. Yeah. Yeah. I would love for someone to give me a tutorial on actually how to play it. That would be fun. Oh, cool. I'll check out, send a link to your video. I'll check it out. Thank you, Damien's son, Vtes X. That's really awesome. It's really cool to have people just randomly stumble upon my music and stuff. Yeah, that's like a very validating thing, to just have people, you know, listen to my song and be like, "Oh, I gotta check this out." Saw something about Ghost Diamond something. I don't know. DDS is very sick. I love them. George Clinton is a crazy guy? I don't know. He seems pretty normal to me. Did I record the guitars on the album through an amp or DI? That was DI. Yeah. I've been trying to like I said, move out of the box more, but then I'm dealing with all this noise, and it's such a headache trying to get rid of noise. And I'm like, by the time I get the amp set up and get it mic'd, and then I'm dealing with the noise, I'm like, fuck it. I just would rather go DI and just use my plugins, and it just makes life easier. But at the same time, there's trade-offs to that, because I don't think I necessarily get the depth I'm looking for. So, but these plugins are getting better and better. Oh, cool. I'm glad you like Activation. It's cool. I feel like I've been getting a lot of different responses for people's favorite song on the record. So that's cool. My favorite type of green tea? I never really got into matcha. I tried it, but didn't have the same quality. I kind of like the potency of like loose leaf green tea. Something about it. But yeah, jasmine green tea is probably my favorite, yeah. Any pets? Oh yeah, I got my dog. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see my dog here and there. I try to avoid posting him a lot, but if I could, I'd just be posting him all the time. I made him his own Instagram because I needed a place to just throw all those photos. I take like hundreds of photos of him a day. He's so cute. George Clinton has a cool haircut. That is true. Favorite movies, anime. I've always wanted to get more into anime. I tried to get a little bit more into it during the pandemic since I had some time on my hands. I watched the show Death Note, which I actually really enjoyed up until a certain point, and then I just felt like it was repeating itself. But I really liked it. Yeah, I'm always down to get to get some recommendations for anime. I feel like I don't have a lot of time to watch TV or movies right now, but yeah, maybe on a free day, I would love to watch some anime. If you got good recommendations. Kraftwerk, yes. Yes, Kraftwerk is one of my favorites. Yeah, they're just, it's pure. It's just like some of the purest music I've ever heard. And it's cool because I think people a lot of times have the association with like electronics to be this cold, not human-like thing. But I feel like Kraftwerk does an amazing job of humanizing their electronics and making it sound warm, and it just like, yeah, it's so emotional, their music, and they kind of like taught me how emotional electronic music could really be. So yeah, I love them. How tall am I? Like 5'8.5". I don't know if that's tall. Compared to some, I'm pretty short compared to others. Worst plugin that I still use. I like that question. I mean, I feel like I'm only using my massive synth these days. They're all pretty good. I only try to stick with the ones that I like. Yeah. It's hard to answer because I just stick with the ones I like normally. But I use this plugin. It's called Imposcar, and I really like it because it's got this depth to it, and it's got like a variation in sound that feels really, really analog. So I use that, but it can be kind of like glitchy at times. So that's the one thing. That's like the main trade-off with it. It's just like, it's like a piece of gear. It doesn't always work the way you want it to. So that's part of the experience. My favorite reverb plugin, like I said, I don't know if you were here, but Valhalla all the way. More DJ mixes, yes, I definitely plan on it. I think I have a little bit more time now that the record's done to start streaming more. So yeah, I'm planning on it soon. Do I work outside of making music? Yes, I have a full-time job, but it's also in music. It's just not this stuff. I work in the corporate world, but I'm a sound engineer, so I get to like work with artists throughout the day, which is cool. I haven't really listened to Vectroid, so no, I can't say. I can't say that I like it because I haven't really listened to it. Thank you, ECDB. I would love to go to Mexico City. I've been there once with my family about 4 years ago, I think. And I had such a good time. But I didn't really get to experience much of the nightlife or like much of just the artist scene down there. So next time I go, I would love to like play a show and get to know other artists down there. That'd be really cool. Thank you, Emerson. Bye, Joel. Thank you. London Grammar. What songs? Who is London Grammar? I feel like I should know who London Grammar is. Give me a name of a song. And for those that don't know, this was the first song I put out as Vtes X. Only a year ago. It's on the record, but it's pretty crazy. I never expected to have a full record out by now, last year. I have performed outside the US, but not with this project. Just in guitar-based projects. Oh, that's right. Hey Now. I love that song. Yes, I like London Grammar. I don't speak other languages. I took French for like an obscene amount of time for not knowing French. But yeah, I mostly just speak English. I think a lot of it's just like I haven't really been able to immerse myself. Like I think if I decided to go to France for a few months, then I would have the opportunity to really practice it. But there hasn't really been the opportunity to practice it. So, and every time I travel to Europe, it's like a lot of times people want to speak English with you. So even when I try to practice, they're just like, no, let's just speak English. So, yeah, I wish. Thank you, VAAV Social Club. I know you've been a big supporter since the start, so thank you. McPib. Is that a question? New album? I started writing some new stuff, some new songs right when I got back from tour. And then life has picked up like crazy with work and everything. So I've been like really scrambling to try to write stuff in between. But yes, the intention is to eventually have a new record, hopefully sooner than later. Don't listen to much Blank Banshee either. But let me know if there's any good songs I should listen to. Favorite George Clinton song? I'm personally more of an Esprit fan. 200% Electronica is genius. But if I have to choose, Make It Forever live is just so much fun. That song's so fun. Cool. Next time I'm in Paris, I'll check out that spot. I do have a vinyl collection. I collected vinyl a lot more when I was in college, I would say. And I did, when I started DJing, I was DJing vinyl, but it wasn't like beat matching type DJing. It was like just playing my favorite bands and stuff. But yeah, I still have a collection. It's just a lot of stuff I listened to 7+ years ago. So a lot of shoegaze stuff. I'm looking at some of my records right now. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you can meditate to this song. That was definitely an intention going into it. I wanted something to like help myself and others get into that blissful headspace. And yeah, this music video is really awesome. This was kind of like a spontaneous trip that me and a few of my friends ended up doing. Right when it was like, I think 2 weekends after I got back from tour, and this song was gonna come out soon, so I was like, ooh, I should get a music video done. And then I hit up my friend who's an amazing photographer and director, and I was like, hey, can we go up to my hometown this weekend and just shoot some video up there, like road trip style. And the day before, I asked 2 of my other friends if they wanted to come, and yeah, we just made it happen. We ended up getting up there so late. We had like 2 hours left of daylight, and I just took them around all my favorite spots where I used to hang growing up, and just sort of like try to capture the essence of growing up there. It's a really awesome music video. I'm so happy with how the whole thing turned out. Milwaukee. Eventually. I don't have specific plans yet, but I would like to. The video was recorded in New Paltz, New York, in Minnewaska State Park. That's really close to my parents' house. So I was pretty much up in the mountains, like close to every day. Just running on the cross-country team up there and then skiing in the winter. But there was one of the spots in the video, you're not supposed to go there. You get in trouble by the rangers if they catch you, but it's a really cool spot. You can jump off the rocks into the water. So I still take people up there because it's just really, whenever I go up there, I just feel like I get a reboot from the city life. And this was actually the first song I wrote. First song I wrote in terms of like the songs on the record. I didn't even have the intention of writing a record at the time. And then it ended up being the title track. Oh, cool. I'm glad you ordered your CD. Yeah, I think CDs are going to have a comeback. I have a feeling. They just make sense. I mean, like the name implies, they are compact. Way more so than a vinyl. So, Morningside Park. I think you're asking about the music video. Minnewaska is the name. What is the most obscure artist or album that I listen to? Oh, I have a good answer for this actually. There's this artist, this Italo disco artist, and my friend actually introduced me to her years ago. Her name, well, she goes by Do Piano. She's no longer active, but that's the name. And there's like 3 tracks out or something under her name. And I would listen to one song of hers almost every day for 2 years. It's incredible. So, Do Piano. I think it's on Spotify. That's definitely one of the most obscure ones that I listen to on the reg. And this song, I don't know how well you can hear these songs. Let me know if you want me to turn it up. This was the last track I wrote before I finished the record. Oh, thanks, Emily. They look very pretty. I have mine right here. Super cool. I do a rough mix generally, and then I have this friend of mine. I'll send all of my tracks out for like some mixing, but also I send it to him because he runs a lot of the stuff through some of his outboard gear to give it more depth and oomph, because like I was saying, recording in the box can be a little bit lackluster at times. So he has some amazing analog gear, and I just trust him with my life to give it that extra depth that it needs. I don't do my own mastering. I send it out to like a mastering house. But yeah, the guy that mastered this record, his name is Joe Lambert, and then my mixing engineer his name is Abe Seaforth. And yeah, I mean, I work as an audio engineer, and I think that's a big reason why or even more of a reason why I need to send it out, because I think it's really hard to like detach myself. It's hard to be the songwriter and then the mixing engineer and then the mastering engineer. And I know people that do it, but I just can't detach myself very well. And I will end up spending months longer finishing a song if I'm doing all of that. So, and I just want to be making more music and learning more about production. So it just makes a lot more sense to send it out and get some like a new set of ears, and also in a proper recording studio, because I'm in my basement and it's not the best. I have a little bit of sound treatment, but it's not ideal for monitoring. I love the colors too. Yeah, they look really cool. I had some options for the vinyl, so I picked out of a bunch, and the splatter one was one of my favorites. Thank you, Manuel. No, I don't mix at 96K. I think a lot of people that I'm not like a heavy, like, over the top audiophile about stuff. Like, you know, I care more about like the perception among the listeners, and people say there's like the psychoacoustics of recording at 96K, but I can't hear a difference. So if I can't, probably majority of people can't as well. On top of like just my computer probably crapping out if I were to do that. What process of creating a song is my favorite? I don't know. There's like different aspects of writing a song that I enjoy. There's like the technical side of it, where there's like this challenge involved of setting your sights on writing something that like hits a certain mark production wise. And so there's kind of like a rush that goes with that. Just being kind of like in competition with yourself and always trying to like just improve and do something you're proud of on the production front. But then on like a creative front, I think figuring out how to tap into something that can speak to anyone, really, you know, it just like has that it just has the feeling that you're looking for. It's really hard. Like, I think because I don't have like an insane amount of music theory knowledge, like I'll just spend hours trying to find the right chords that just like hit that mark, that just like make you feel whatever that transcendent feeling that you're trying to feel. Like that, when I can figure that out, and it's just like you're in that nice sonic cocoon, that's like seriously so rewarding. So that's probably my favorite, when I can actually find it. That's my favorite, but it takes a long time to get there. Thanks, Emily. Favorite movie? Oh, man. I would really have to think hard about that. It's been a while since I've watched like a film that's really impacted me in any way. I like darker stuff, generally. Yeah, I kind of like twisted stuff. Like, I really like that movie Climax. It was kind of disturbing, but it was beautiful at the same time. And it kind of like shocked my senses. I really like movies that do that. And I think it's like the movies I tend to recommend people, they're always like, that's too much. So I don't know. I guess I have a little bit of a sick taste, but that's just me. Oh, the poster. This is a poster I got when I was in Amsterdam at the Stedelijk Museum, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And there was a Seth Price exhibit. I can't really. You can kind of see it. But yeah, I had to take something home. It's really sick. Hatchie's great. I love Hatchie. They got a really strong pop quality, but like an amazing throwback quality too. It has this like nostalgic feeling to it. I really love them, and the production's so good. A fan of Beach House? Haven't really gotten into Beach House, unfortunately. I'm glad you like this song. This song was this was like my guitar cameo song. I was trying to tap back into sort of the indie rock stuff that I started playing music on. So I felt like I needed to have at least one track on the record that sort of alluded to that. Am I a fan of heavy music? Definitely. I don't know. Depends on what type of heavy music, for sure. I like heavy techno. Yes. And punk music in general. I used to be a mosher. I have a photo of me with like a bloody lip. I went hard at one point in my life. How do I usually start a song? I feel like it's different every time. I like starting a song with like just maybe like a nice pad or something that inspires me. It generally has to start with a sound that inspires me, and then I can work off of that. But lately I have been just doing the standard start with drum and bass, and I'm finding that to be helpful. So I'm probably going to do more of that, because it's hard to backtrack and like start writing the top layer and the melody, and then when you're incorporating the bass, it could start getting really weird and totally change the vibe of the song, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, and that can take so much time to just like adjust. So I think in the future I'm gonna start with the bass a little bit more. I think that'll be helpful. Big things I learned while making the record. Well, what I just said is a big thing I learned, because I had to scrap a lot of ideas because I just could not figure out how to incorporate the bass properly, and it felt like a little disjointed, and I also have a tendency to what they like to call vertically arrange. So I think just the nature of like DAWs in general, where you can see it all in front of you, it's not like this linear sequential thing. It's like you can see the whole verse in front of you and the layers, and it can get kind of addicting to like want to add more to and layer it more and more and more before you ever start extending upon that and actually build the bare bones of the song. So there would be a lot of times where I would have like this crazy busy verse and then not have any of the rest of the song finished or mapped out or anything. So a big thing I learned is to like not get pulled into that vertical arrangement trap and try your hardest, even if it's not like exciting, to go with just like the nature of, just building the bare bones of the song first, getting that laid out, and then once you have that done, then starting to build on top of it. So that was a huge learning lesson for me. Easier said than done. I'll check out Delirium. Cool. Beastie Boys fan? Yeah. I mean, I always love Beastie Boys when someone's playing it, but I never like bought their discography or anything. But yeah, they're dope. Hardcore punk metal. I don't think, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever been to like a hardcore punk metal show. Maybe I have, actually. Maybe down in Virginia when I was like in the DIY scene. They had a metal space. So I would go to some metal shows there. But it wasn't so much my thing. There gets to a point where it's like, I think I have a really hard time with like cymbals. And I worked front of house. I worked sound for years. And mostly like 350 cap rooms. And you're like always dealing with harsh cymbal sounds. And like, I always just wish that like the drummers could just get rid of the cymbals altogether. So I feel like thrashy stuff is a little hard for me just because of that alone. But other than that, I like it. Was I a scene kid? I don't know. I was not like in high school. I was not a scene kid. Definitely not. I was a jock. That was me. But in college, I had my angsty phase a little late. So I like shaved my head. And yeah, I did a little bit of the rebellion thing in college. Oh, well, there's a lot of questions. I can't keep up. This is sick. Thanks, guys. Nuitsibol, is that how you pronounce it? I'll check that out. Getting management, I'm managed through the label. So I didn't like have to actively seek it out. Ooh, any Twilight Zone experiences? I'm not really heavy into supernatural stuff. Like I'm not even big into astrology, to be honest. I know that's probably going to alienate a lot of my fan base. But I do think there's a lot of things that might not be able to be explained. And I've had like weird moments, more so when I was a kid, where like I would see things before they happened a couple times. But I also wonder, I like looking at things more through like a scientific lens. And I do wonder if like because our brains are developing when we're kids so much that maybe my memories got swapped or something. But I did have a couple weird things, like, and it was just like random, super random. One time we got someone rang the doorbell, and I just imagined someone eating a banana. And then we opened the door, and it was my neighbor, and she was eating a banana. And then I had another really bizarre experience. This one kind of shook me. There was like this girl that went to my elementary school, and she was on my school bus too. And she ended up maybe like moving or something. I think she moved because she wasn't in school for maybe like 4+ years. And then one night I just had this random image of her pop up. And I was like, oh, I wonder what happened to that girl. And then I went to school the next day, and I was sitting in class, and the teacher was like, we have a new student. And it was that girl. I can't explain that. So yeah, there's some freaky shit. But it could have been my brain just totally fucking with me. So I don't know. Maybe I was taking on like subliminal things here and there. Like maybe I saw her name on a piece of paper in my peripherals or something. Like I think those types of things could potentially explain it. Or there's more than meets the eye. Sorry, I'm catching up on a lot of messages because I went on a weird rant. So what sport did I play? I ran and I cross-country skied. And that was everything I lived and breathed for most of my life until I decided I didn't want to do any of it anymore. And I just wanted to play music. So I did that up until I was 18. And I still run, but I don't really do it competitively so much. Yeah, I do think people have some level of psychic abilities, or like intuition at the very least. I think there's so much that our subconscious is picking up on that we're just not fully aware of. So I think you could call that psychic maybe, or just like the power of the brain is pretty expansive and pretty incredible. Or maybe we're all quantum entangled, as Robert says. I fully agree. Soft replica. Yes, I fully agree. How did I meet Adam Kane? Well, I met Adam. The first night I met Adam was in New York years ago, before I had even moved to the city. And he grew up in Virginia, which is where I went to school. So that's how I kind of met him. And then he didn't even know George, I don't think, when I met him. And then eventually, honestly, I feel like George and Adam's relationship is still pretty new. So it's really funny that I've known both of them for so long at this point. But yeah, like Adam took me to like my first rave, I would say, in New York years ago before he moved out to LA. And now that he's out in LA, he's like missing it a lot. So now when he comes here, I'll take Adam to a rave. We'll trade. Oh, favorite Adam Kane song? Show and Tell. But I know Adam's music before he was Adam Kane. He had another project, which I will not say, but I like his old stuff a lot too. I'm not 18. That'd be funny if anyone believed that. If you haven't noticed, George lies about everyone's age, including himself. Virginia Illuminati. Yeah, there's a little bit of that going on. I'm not even from Virginia. I grew up upstate, but I just randomly ended up down there for school. And I found my people. Oh, Amelia Bedelia is good too. Yeah. It's not a secret? Okay. I don't want to state his old project, but oh, it's all good. Vtes X. In short, I was listening to Marie Davidson a lot, and she has this one song called Excess de Vitesse. She's French, I believe. I'm almost positive. And I was listening to that song a lot. I thought it was dope. And then I had a radio show, and I had to come up with a name for the radio show. So I named my radio show Excess Vitesse after that song, a little bit like condensed. And then my radio show ended, and I still really wanted to use that name. Originally, I wanted to use that as the project name, but it was a little too wordy, so it made more sense to shorten it a bit. So then it became Vtes X. And also, there's like a few artists that have X at the end of their name, so it was like a little bit of an homage to that. Like, there's this artist I really like called Gina X. Yeah, basically when I was doing that radio show and like really heavily listening to Marie Davidson, I was listening to like a lot more Italo disco and like cold wave stuff, and so that it kind of derives from that genre, the name does. But obviously my stuff's not really like that. I just like the sharpness of the X. It's like I won't dox Adam. I studied really hard in high school. Oh my gosh. I studied too hard for no reason. Yeah. Actually, Adam's old project is called Blink 182. You should check it out. Saturn is planet X. What are some of the symbolic meanings of X? Clarity is victory. Agreed. Yes. I can't say I do, Eric. I don't even want to try to pronounce that. Even with my 7 years of French behind me, I'm going to embarrass myself. V Nobel. Schneller. X marks the spot. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. So I did mention some of the shoegaze stuff earlier. But I would say favorite shoegaze albums. I love My Bloody Valentine's last record, the blue one, MBV. I know it's a bit controversial, but that's my favorite. And then the Brian Jonestown Massacre record, I'm bad with names. The purple one with the boy on the cover. I don't know if you really consider that shoegaze, but it's got some shoegaze elements in it, and I love that one. Hear a lot of Sun and Rain references in songs. In my songs? Or just you hear them in general? I mean, Loveless is great, but but yeah. When that album came out, when MBV came out, I was in college, and it was in the middle of winter when I was listening to it, and I just like kind of separated myself from the friends I had been hanging out with for a while. I was just very like isolated, but in a really nice way. Like I was just kind of doing my own thing, and I was working on music, and I would just listen to that record, and I felt like I was in a little cocoon, and it's just like a really nice association for me. But I love the drums in that record too. They're so cool. Actually, the drums, I don't know what song it is. There's like these really, really phasey drums in one of the songs, and that still is like always in my head when I'm making drum parts. The X is the crossroads on the journey of the soul. The X is a cross turned on its side. The X is in correlation with the cube, which ties in with masonry with the square and compass. Interesting. I like it. I am already starting to work on a new album, but it's gonna be a while. I have like 6 or 7 songs at least drafted, but to get from that point to like a fully fledged song takes a lot of time. And I kind of want to take a step back for a second. I think I was like rushing into it too fast, and I kind of just want to write some dance songs for a little bit and like learn a little bit more about like how to write songs that I could DJ and maybe release them so I can like DJ out and actually DJ some of my own music. So that's like also on my list. Obviously a new record, but I also want to start writing some dance songs as well. Favorite drum break? I don't know the names of the breaks. I mean, I'm not going to say the almond break because I feel like that's the most generic thing I could say. But that's a good one. When's the Nowadays set coming? One day, I hope. Sooner than later. That is New York City on the back cover of the record. I'll show you. That is that was taken in Williamsburg at the waterfront. It's like a zoomed in version. Oh wait, no, actually no. This one, I'm wrong. There's like a few different photos that have a similar view. This one was actually taken on a rooftop in Greenpoint. And it's just close up. I was originally in that photo, but I got cropped out because that's just a better vibe. Tranquility Break, 155 BPM. I think I know what you're talking about. Actually, I think I was fucking around with that one earlier today. Like, legit. Thank you, Jeruskity. Will there be a replay of this? This is going to be archived, if that's what you're asking. If you missed some of the earlier questions. Oh, wow. We made it to the end of the record twice now. Damn. And actually, so I always say the Us Ephemeral was the first song I wrote, and that's a lie. It's the first song I finished. But this track I actually started writing like years ago. And yeah, just dabbling and like just trying to find a sound. And I was listening to like a lot of IDM and like ambient techno and stuff. And when I wrote this track, I was really trying to replicate a lot of like these analog synths and arpeggiators and stuff, but like programming it all myself because I didn't know exactly what to use. So I was just like kind of like bloop, 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 bloop on MIDI, and then just randomly changing it up and like, and then when I finished it, I kept getting like these comments like it sounds like a video game and stuff. And I was kind of upset because I was like, I wanted it to have this like really lush analog sound to it. But now I like how it kind of sounds like digital and like you're in a video game or whatever. It just like, it makes it have this really futuristic quality to it. But it's funny how like your intention can lead so far off course, and it's like the song just kind of has a mind of its own, and like your limitations will create something else. Yes, I work full time, but it's still a little bit of this hybrid situation. So I do work from home here and there. Like today I was working from home. So I was like, oh, I can do the stream today. 'Cause my schedule is kind of weird. Like things don't start and end at a very specific time. But yeah, I work as a sound engineer in like a corporate setting. But during the pandemic, it was all work from home. So that really, really helped me to be able to work on this record because I wasn't dealing with commute time and spending all my money on food in Manhattan and just all the, the frustrations that come with working in the office. So yeah, that was a blessing. I think if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have gotten this record done, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, I feel just like I got really fortunate. And now that I have the ball rolling, it's just a matter of kind of figuring out how to adjust my schedule and find the time. And the time's one thing, but the energy is another. Finding the creative energy, that takes a lot out of you. And when you're like working all day and you come back, it's really hard to tap into that. So, yeah, I don't have great advice for it, except for treat your body as well as you can, because you need all the energy you can have when you're trying to make the best art you want to make. Yeah, not early 90s electronic vibes. Definitely influenced by a lot of 90s electronic artists. But it's funny because like this song, I got a lot of comparisons to Opus 3, and I didn't actually start listening to Opus 3 until after I read the song. And then after I read the song, I was like, I think this is my favorite like group of all time. I'm obsessed with Opus 3. And then I was like, I want to sound like Opus 3. How do I sound like Opus 3? And I'm like, oh wait, like someone just made that comparison even before I even knew who it was. So that's pretty cool to like already sound like something you love before you even know they exist. Yes, you should. Yes, Steve, you should make it a point to visit New York. It is thriving. I wouldn't say thriving, but I think the like, just in terms of shows and parties, fun, exciting things to do, now's the time to be here. It's definitely, people have been cooped up for a long time, and a lot of new venues have just opened up within the past month. So it's really fun, and it's not even warm out. Like, it's been 25 degrees the past few days. So once it gets warm out, it's gonna be crazy. I hope in a good way. But yeah, this winter has already been nuts. Any big DJ sets for the summer? Nothing planned yet. I need to start getting some bills together. I just like haven't gotten added to any bills lately. I've just been really focused on this release. So now that it's done, I'm really down to start DJing a lot. So I'll keep you all posted. And I'm gonna start doing the live sets or the live streams again soon. Yeah, Vapor Memories channel posted my album, which is cool. Yeah. There's always that pull to want to just be able to strictly focus on your art and not work a full-time job. But I don't think logistically that would work at all in New York in terms of just paying bills. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate my job or anything. So I am in a very good situation right now. I wouldn't want to just like give that up. But yeah, to just like live a life where you're only focusing on your music all day, of course, that sounds amazing. But it's hard. And the people that I know, I have a lot of musician friends that do their music full time, but that alone is a struggle too. And there's other stresses that come with that, like, especially when you want to put just money into, just like making a music video or something like that. It's a lot harder to do when you're not getting any other source of income. So yeah, it's hard to navigate. But like I said, you gotta like make sure you're eating well and sleeping enough and like just like really preserving your energy so that when you get home or when you have a day off or whatever, you can just like fully put yourself into the creative headspace that you want to be in. How do you maintain a healthy lifestyle on tour? That's a whole nother thing. Yeah, that's really hard, especially when you're starting to travel down south and you're just like, you're getting out of a show at midnight, 1 a.m., and then you have to drive to the hotel. And if you're doing long drives, you want to get like a few hours out so that you don't have a crazy long drive in the morning. So then you have to figure out, well, what am I eating at 1 a.m. When the only thing that's open is Cookout. So I started just eating a lot of Hush Puppies at Cookout because it's the most vegan thing I could find. I'm not exactly vegan, but I don't eat dairy. And I don't eat like gross. Well, I don't eat meat either. So yeah, it's really hard. I would be like the one person on tour to be like, we need to stop at Whole Foods and stack up. Nuts have gotten me through a lot of that. Just getting big bags of nuts. And actually, so before this project, I was saying earlier, I was doing front of house live sound for years. That was my gig. And so right before the pandemic, I was running sound for Beach Fossils and Negative Gemini on their tour. And it was pretty great because it was just like all of us were like really good friends. And it was like a kind of relaxing in that sense. Like you're just like with your family essentially. And me, Lindsay, and her drummer would make it a point to do yoga in the morning. Like wake up earlier than everyone else and go down to the hotel gym and just do some yoga. And I honestly felt like when I was done with that tour, I actually felt refreshed. Which is like not the normal, typical experience when you're on tour. So, yeah. And I wasn't drinking a lot. I mean, more than that, I was having a beer a night max. So that, yeah, I would say that more than anything else was probably the way I kept sane and feeling healthy as you can feel on tour. But yeah, it's one of the hardest things to figure out. I don't mind comparisons with my music. I just mind when it's like feels generic. It feels like not really thought out. It feels like more like the person was just basing my sound off of my appearance. That's when I have some issues with it. I mean, and I don't like making assumptions either. Like it could, the one person that's coming to mind, because I stated this earlier on my Twitter, is like, I've been getting a lot of Grimes comparisons. And that's the one that like, I'm not it doesn't make me mad or anything, but I'm just like, I feel like it's a little lazy of a comparison, because I also noticed that a lot of other female artists in this general genre or scene also get compared to her all the time, when it just like doesn't really sound like her aside from a lot of reverb and female vocal. And so I was thinking about it earlier today. Like, I think also one of the issues there is just there really isn't enough of a genre for that sound. And I know Grimes actually herself, like she has an editorial playlist on Spotify now called Ethereal. And I was so excited when that came out, because I'm like, oh, there's a place for my sound that feels defining. Like, I think just having a new name for this type of sound is really needed. So, yeah. So yeah, I think part of the issue with that comparison is just there's not a proper genre name for it. So it's easier to just say, oh, you sound like Grimes. Ah, nice. Yeah, I was at the last Electronica in New York. That was really fun. I saw Quip on the rooftop when the sun was setting. It was pretty magical. And he was wearing his like full elf getup. I do have interest in maybe like branching off from this project if it happens organically. Like if I start writing maybe some like distinct dance style tracks, or like, yeah, just like stuff that I'm trying to DJ with that might not necessarily fit, then I might have some interest in like going under a different name, just to like, you know, I don't want to like branch off too much from what I'm doing, and like people start expecting a certain sound from you as an artist, and I wouldn't want to like I wouldn't want to alienate my listeners with something like super left field. So that is a possibility. Yeah, I agree with that self replica. I do think like people who choose to just fully go for being an artist full time rather than having like a day job that supports their art, that's what I've noticed with a lot of people I know that are just trying to stay afloat with their music or their art, is that now they're thinking more about money, because it's like now they're like stuck in kind of a bind all the time, and then that like clouds your vision, and yeah, it makes you maybe feel like now you're in survival mode. So it's like, oh well, maybe I have to write music like this so that it gets playlisted and gets more streams, and so that I can just make a living. And it's like, that shouldn't be the mentality. That's not a healthy mentality. So I do think it can backfire if, but I mean, it's, you know, it works for other people too. It really depends on the person. But yeah, I mean, I was struggling to make ends meet for years in New York, like just scraping by, and like that mindset is not healthy for creating for me. When I'm stressed like that, there is no way I can like be vulnerable and like enter a proper creative space at all. But some people can use that anguish to create art, like as a, you know, they're like use that as fuel to have like some sort of cathartic moment. So it really depends on the person. But for me, being stressed out in that way does not help. So, you know, at least for right now, like working a day job while doing this isn't a problem for me. It's just more about finding the energy. Scrolling through. Thanks for hanging out. This is really I wasn't sure if people were gonna come or anything. So thank you. This has been really nice. Do I try to eat organic? Yeah, I do. But I'm not like super strict. Like I just care more about getting greens and veggies than I do about being strictly organic at all times. And also there's issues with organic foods too, and like the things that are labeled organic now aren't necessarily like the rules. The companies have found so many loopholes at this point. It's like the word organic is becoming the word natural. Like you can just kind of stick that on a label and it's doesn't mean nearly as much as it used to. And then also with organic foods, I don't have to go deep into this, but like in order to keep organic foods fresh, if they're being shipped across the country, like there's like certain copper extracts and stuff they have to use to keep it fresh. And if you're consuming a lot of that, like that can be unhealthy for you as well. So, I mean, ultimately the best thing to do is just eat local. But in New York, I mean, I guess they have farmers markets and stuff. It's a lot harder in the city, obviously, to do that. So, yeah, I just try to eat veggies a lot and take a lot of vitamins. I have a pretty strict vitamin thing that I do. But the most important thing is like substance, real food. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Yeah, I do have interest in working on other people's projects, maybe as a producer, or I think for now, I want to focus on remixes. I think that'll be a really good learning opportunity for me. And yeah, I just want to start collabing more because it's hard just always working solo. Like, you only have yourself to bounce ideas off of, really. So it'll be fun to just take someone else's vision and then just sort of like mess around with it and make something that is more uniquely me. So yeah, I actually have some potential things that might happen in the near future with that. So we will see. How far back am I? I feel like I'm reading stuff from like, I don't even know. Oh, there's like people leaving I didn't get to say goodbye to. Sorry. I'm way back in this thread. DJs that inspire me. Yeah, a lot. DJs in general inspire me a lot. Like, just artists who are really concerned with creating the best vibe for everyone. I feel like it's a selfless act. So I go to a lot of events and stuff, and I'm just like always blown away by the DJs at these venues. There's this rave that I've been going to for the past few years, except for during the pandemic, and it's upstate in the woods, and it's like a very spiritual time, and like it's like a full reboot of my system when I'm there. And they always just have like the best curation of DJs. So it's like, not only are you listening to the best music and dancing to the best music, but you're separated from all of the distractions of the outside world and stuff. And yeah, some of my favorite DJs some of my current favorite DJs I found out about there. So there's actually, this name's gonna make everyone laugh. There's this DJ called DJ Fart in the Club. And I saw them there, and it was the best DJ set I'd ever seen. It was so fun and so groovy, and it just had like every element that I would want in a DJ set. It just like had so much character to it. And ever since I saw that set, I've been trying to tap into that with my own sets. Like, yeah, even if you're DJing other people's music, there's like a story that you can tell through how you like piece it together. And there's just like this energy that you can create through how you curate it all. So yeah, that's who I'm like trying to channel now. DJ Fart in the Club. a Vtes X trading card. I don't have that in the works, but if I see a demand for it, perhaps. I didn't know Esprit had one. Is that like a regular thing that all these guys do on the label? Should I join that train? I'd love to remix Equip. That'd be fun. See you later, Cambion. A 100% packs a random one in every record. Okay. Good to know. I have some stickers. If you want a sticker. But no trading cards yet. That video that was playing. Oh God. How do I do this? That video is playing in the corner, bottom corner. I don't know if you were really looking at it, but that was my last music video that just dropped for my song Centrifuge Me. And I'm really psyched with how it came out. It was made by an artist who recently did a Fire Tools music video, and I reached out to him to do mine because the Fire Tools music video is like one of the coolest things I had seen in a long time. Yeah, another cool thing about this project is like working with visual artists. I wish that I could do stuff like this on my own, but it's just not physically possible for me. So there's been like a lot of artists that I've been following for years. This little visualizer you see at the bottom, it's actually a square, but it's kind of cropped right now, but he is incredible. He's an incredible artist. So I've been working with him on some stuff. He goes by AJam. So yeah, that's also been a really fun aspect of this music project, is just collabing with visual artists too. My favorite song I've worked on personally, in the record, I'm going to assume you mean it for the record. It's a hard choice for me. I think it's very dependent on my mood, because each of these tracks was made with during like a very specific mood I was feeling at the time. Like I feel like each one sort of like tells a story of like each mood I was feeling month by month. I love this song, Therma Maxima. I think I pushed my boundaries production-wise a lot with this. I think the mix is great. And I like the little guitar part I added at the end. Oh, my logo. Oh, God. I forget his name right now. Oh, you know what's cool? I have credits on the back of my record, so I can just look at it. Bryce Casper, he did my logo. He's really dope. I was just following his stuff too, and I reached out and he did the logo. I originally was working with him for just like single art stuff, and then he kind of just made the logo specifically for that. But then, yeah, I ended up basically getting a single art design and a logo in one. And now I've been using the logo for everything because it looks so cool. But yeah, it's been really fun working with all these really cool visual artists. Oh, here, it's playing it over again. This was kind of, to be honest, this last part was a bit of a nod to vaporwave. I don't know if you could pick up on that at all, but for me it was. Yeah, I just wanted to add like a little fun thing at the end, but this song definitely has meaning behind it too. Like I wrote this was the second song I wrote during the pandemic. And I was just feeling like, well, I had just like a lot of time to sort of focus on my priorities, and like I was like consuming like so sustainably, and like starting to garden and like compost and everything that I've been wanting to do for years, but it's just like I didn't have the time because I was working so much or didn't have the energy. And then I was sort of just like really feeling heartbroken for the earth, as I think we all do, but I think it's like this thing we are constantly kind of like shoving down. So that was what that song was about. And then the guitar at the end was sort of like, well, it's like the end's all about sort of what we're doing to the earth. You know, it's like the beginning of the song, it's all about acceleration, and then the end's like the crash and burn. A little depressing. I probably will only stay for like 5 more minutes unless you guys want to hang longer. But we've been doing this for like 2 hours almost. I think people are kind of like on their way out. But yeah, hit me with your last questions. I'll answer anything. By the way, this song just got playlisted on Spotify. I'm very excited about it. I'm like really surprised by it. I thought this is like my most experimental track, and it like got on Fresh Finds today. I'm like, what the fuck? That's bizarre. But I'm happy about it. Yeah, I wish I shared my gardening journey when I was gardening. I did some weeding. So I would love to get back on my gardening kick this year. It's a lot of work though. It's so much more work than I expected. Just daily maintenance. Spicy. I'm not great with spicy food. Yeah, I'm one of those basic bitches. No spicy food for me. Any random hobbies or interests? Yeah. I mean, I would say, I don't know what classifies as a hobby per se. I run a lot. That's a hobby that I do. Not a hobby that everyone enjoys, but I enjoy it. If I don't do it, I feel crazy. So, I I think I picked up a lot more hobbies during the pandemic because I could. And I actually built a preamp during the pandemic. And I was like, ooh, cool. This is a fun hobby I can do when I'm like retired, if that day will ever come. So I like just trying new things. So that was one like little thing I wanted to check off my list that I completed, and it's fully functioning. A little noisy though, unfortunately. And yeah, when I was younger, I was like way more into like drawing and painting and all that. Like when I just had those moments of boredom, that's what I would do. And I keep telling myself I want to start doing that again, but can't find the time. Whenever I have time, I just want to work on music. So that's my hobby and my job, I guess. You tried gardening, I'm assuming? Yeah. Yeah. It's rewarding, but... Or are you talking about building a preamp? I'm going to assume gardening. Both very hard. Oh, transistor. Weapon of choice? My fists. Paper, plastic. Paper? I mean, fuck plastic. But, yeah, paper for sure. I can throw that in my compost. Well, we made it to the last song 3 times. What a perfect closeout. Well, yeah, this sounds really appropriate to end right now. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I didn't expect so many people to be in the chat. I didn't expect to talk so long. I didn't expect to talk about my psychic powers. But yeah. Oh, bye, Steve. Yeah. I don't know if you guys like this. We could do it more often. I was like, maybe this will just be like kind of a one-time thing, but yeah, let me know. We can do it more. I mean, I'm definitely going to do the DJ sets. So at the very least, I'll do that. Maybe I'll like get on the mic and we can chat a little bit while I DJ too. Yeah, thanks for all the great questions. Okay. Bali Gomingo. I will check that out. Yeah, thanks for coming, guys. I'll see you soon. I'll keep you posted on potential shows coming up, DJ events, new music videos, collabs. There's a lot to come, so I'll keep you guys posted. Thanks for hanging out. Goodbye.